It's another awesome day for a rant.
Yes, we are here to rant. It's Radically Affirmative New Thought
Yes.
with Reverend Dr. Jonathan Zenz and, of course, St. Steph.
St. Steph.
Yeah, and I've got a nice new white hoodie because it's very saintly, right? Like having
Very
a
nice
little white. Oh yeah, so good.
I almost wore a white hoodie and I took it off not too long ago. We would have been
because you're in Tucson.
Yeah.
So everybody, welcome. Good to see everybody popping in. If you are watching on Facebook, we would love it so much if you hit those loves and those likes and that special button sharing us into your news feed. I'm going to try to do that at the same time. We'll figure this out.
Up on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube.
On YouTube, yes.
Thumbs up, yeah.
Thumbs up. Oh, and people are watching already. We're so excited.
Yes.
How are you doing,
I'm
Jonathan?
so excited. Because we have some special guests today who are going to be joining us.
Yes.
They are the co-founding ministers at CSL Kauai on the island of Kauai, and they were students in my cohort of ministerial classmates. We were all students together, studying ministry together. We all graduated together, and we have all transformed our lives into being spiritual directors in a magnificent way in various iterations. They founded the Center for Spiritual Living Kauai 12 years ago. I think that's correct. Well, I should just bring them I should just bring them up, right?
Yes.
Please welcome Reverend Dr. Rita Andriello Farron and Reverend Dr. Patrick Farron.
Aloha.
Aloha.
I want to do the thing that you guys do when you start.
Yeah.
Play the music, Steph.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's.
I want to do that. We want to do that. Okay.
There we have it. We had a little dance. We were just talking about making sure that there's a dance number in between messages, right?
Yes.
So here we go. There we go.
I'm sorry. I just saw it and had to have it.
Yes. We can say good morning to Jesse. Hey, Jesse.
Good morning, Jesse.
So glad you're watching.
Yeah.
So every single Friday, we get to have a radically affirmative new thought, and we're so blessed to have some new thinkers with us today.
Yes.
Radical.
Yeah, we're definitely radical.
Right.
And love your show, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We sometimes we come in later, or I pop in and go aloha. But thank you for doing this, because this is a great platform for a lot of us and a lot of people. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
A lot out of that archaic mode and brings it to the current.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Really what we're all about, right? Being current.
Right. Yeah. You know, current is actually one of my favorite words when describing the divine, because it's this energetic field, right? It's current that's always flowing, always moving. Mm-hmm. And when we get to just be in the current, oh yeah. Where are we going to go today, Spirit? Where are we going to go today?
That is always the question. Where are we going to go today?
Where are we? Yeah.
Where are we going to go? If you are watching, we'd love to hear your thoughts. We love knowing what you want us to rant about for sure. Do you want me to pull up my mom's again? Let's see.
Sure. Well, before that, I just want to say, so did I get it correct? You founded Center for Spiritual Living Kauai 12 years ago.
We are headed right at our 12th year.
This is your 12th year. Okay. Yeah.
Patrick actually came here on March 19th, 2013. So
okay.
Point.
Who knew? Who knew? I guess
right?
We did.
Yeah. The Four Agreements was his first class that he taught up in Princeville with like about 3 students, I think.
Oh, I love that.
It was packed.
And look what you've grown. I mean, you know, I've been until this year, I've visited you pretty much every single year and seen how you've gone from, you know, I remember those early days when it was like you were in the hotel, the Aston Aloha, right? And you were in that little room. And like when we were doing the Sacred Journey, we were driving all over and there was not kind of a centralized location, but now you've moved into this beautiful facility and it's the Buddhist. The Buddhist Center, and you basically are the permanent residents there.
Yeah.
And you've just grown an extraordinarily beautiful community. And, you know, And it has a special place in my heart. That's what
And you have a special place there too. And speaking of current, it's all because of following the current and knowing when to go out, to use the metaphor of the current, knowing when to go out and when to move and when to let it loose and let the current take you, because if you fight it, what can happen?
If I keep like acting like I'm distracted, we have a cat here and she's a kid and she is chewing my purse right now. So I'll be right back.
Oh,
okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But, well, let us tell you about Quanta, the center cat. That's what we call her. She's a beautiful cat that's here for the people here, our community. So she lives here. She lives in the big palace, we call it, and the temple. And she is quite a handful. It's okay.
It's
Go
okay.
ahead.
She wants my purse. She wants what she wants,
Yep.
We all
we all have fur babies. We get it.
It's a rant. That is her rant.
Yes. Hey, Terry. Love the rant. And both of you. Thanks, Terry.
Yeah.
And Sherry's here. Hello, beautiful peeps. Hello.
I think that is meant to be peeps. Supposed to be
Yeah, I read it as peeps.
Yeah.
Maybe Quanta might make an appearance. We don't know. She's right now.
Yeah.
She's fine.
It'll be fine. She'll join in if she needs to join in.
Yeah, if she needs to join in, she is
How
welcome.
many guests are we allowed on this show?
Yeah.
Hey,
as many as it
we can
takes. Yeah, as many as it takes
Right.
to wake up, right? We're here to have radically affirmative new thoughts, and I think cat wisdom is essential to most of our lives, right? Because they don't care. They don't care. Just no, I'm gonna lay here. No, I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
They are a great teacher in terms
Yes.
of allowing us to know that we can be right where we are and enjoy every last ounce of our presence, right? They do nothing but just enjoy their own presence.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we should take note from that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like just last night, I was teaching a class, Discover Your Divinity, and halfway through, Casey just starts mewing right at my feet, and I'm like, oh goodness! But what she wants is to just lay on my desk, so I pick her up, put her on, and she like walks all over the camera for a little bit, and then hunkers down and lays right here and gets pets while I'm teaching. So Casey's been also in every single class I've ever taught.
Well, what we try to remember with cats, especially, is that what I have found is they diffuse the energy, some of the energy she walks through. If there's any kind of tension at all, or we're in any kind of current discussion of our lovely world, she will come in and you can feel her saying, no, I'll take some of that energy, not too much of it, but let's go back to some chilling here, because she can feel anxiety, and then when she comes in, you can feel the whole room just start to go.
Amazing, right?
It is.
Yeah, and opposite of a puppy who enters a room.
Which I have lots of puppy energy in my life right now.
Yeah,
I have
me
a
too.
61-pound, 6-month-old golden retriever now.
That's a big dog.
And she teaches, he or she? He teaches focus.
Indeed.
He teaches how to focus in the midst of a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yep.
he does.
Yeah. And Danny, my almost 2-year-old, who's only 18 pounds, she's in the room right now, contained. I gave her a bone, but she has left the bone, so we'll see how this goes. She's so just excited. She's just excited about life, and she reminds me to take care of myself. Like tapping on me. You've sat at this chair at your desk long enough. Let's go outside. Let's do this. Let's play. So she helps me in my self-care regime. And when I'm sick, she tells me before I know. It's amazing. Yeah, she's very intuitive.
Yeah.
For animals.
Yeah. Yes. They're called emotional support animals for a reason. Yeah.
They are, Sherry. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Especially lately. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. instead of an I voted button, we should get a pet. Here's your new kitten. Here's your new puppy.
I love it.
I petted. Wow.
What are we ranting about today?
Yeah. Does
Animals. No,
Animals, yeah.
Animals.
Animal
Well, yeah, clearly.
intuition. We do have some folks watching. Love to know what you love to rant about. My mom submitted something a couple weeks ago here. My beautiful mom, who's been in New Thought for, let's see, since I have, so probably about 14 years, maybe. Because she's a seeker, so she's always looking for wisdom. It's awesome to have a mom who's that was her premise when I was like 8 years old, probably between 8 and 10, and she said, I don't care what you believe in, I just want you to find something to believe in. And so that's my mom. And she's reading a book by Sean Ginwright, PhD, and asks the question, what does it look like to dance between accountability and grace?
Wow.
And I love that dance. What does it look like to dance between accountability and grace? For those of you watching, let's hear your answers as well.
Yeah. You know what comes up is, first of all, I think we should talk about, well, what is accountability and what is grace? Because obviously we're saying that they are different things and there's a dance in between the two. It seems that's the question. So how do you define accountability?
Well, I think accountability could be like accountability being responsibility. Like I'm responsible in this situation for my part in this situation, whatever it is, because that's what we teach in New Thought, is that we are responsible, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, do I take that accountability, like responsibility? At least that's to me first. Like,
yeah, I think the first thing that came to me was when I make a decision or a choice about something, in working out or in other programs, you're accountable to them, and then so that you have someone, so you can continue your intention, you can continue your decision, your choice. So, but how I always say, it's that being accountable to the self, and to be accountable to, that incredible power that right now I've got God, so the incredible power that moves through us. And am I accountable to myself? And that's in the meantime, I can reach out and say, I need accountability assistance. But I think that for me right now, I'm really, really accountable to myself and my growth around me.
You know what word comes up for me is ownership. Like emotional ownership.
Yes.
And as I'm experiencing my life, do I have a willingness to have emotional ownership over the things that I experience? And I think part of it, and it's starting to something's coming up for me, because I had an experience this week where I was faced with some information from somebody who said, this has happened in my life. And I'm going to be really obtuse about it because I don't want to give away any confidences. But they said, this is happening in my life. And there seemed to be at the core of it a lot of blame. And I want to differentiate. Responsibility does not mean blame. Responsibility says, irrespective of what happened in the past, what is mine to do now moving forward? How do I evolve moving forward? So they were deferring that emotional ownership is what I was kind of experiencing. And if we are not willing to own our stuff, this is where I'm going to now transition into grace. If I'm not willing to take emotional ownership of my stuff, then I cannot be in grace around my experience with other people. Because I think grace is oftentimes in relationship. I can have grace for myself. But grace for me is kind of the extension of that in a way. I'm not going to allow someone else's lack of emotional ownership to distract or detract from my well-being.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all. Yeah, the ownership. The ownership is right on that current that I had felt too. It's used to be out there. I want to be accountable out there. But now when you take that ownership, it's not that people, you expect it, but I expect that same respect from others. That projecting our wounds upon another person is not the way that I personally think that we can go. And grace enters that.
Yeah.
The more we become, and grace enters into that, and we're so aware, so that when it does happen, it feels almost foreign to the body when you're experiencing that from someone else, or, and we all experience it from a lot of people.
Yeah. And once we're like accountable or responsible or whatever word you want to use there, taking ownership, then we can move through it with grace, whatever it is, because we're not going to be triggered. We're going to know who we are. We're going to know what's ours in this, and we'll be more, we won't be like in that reactive mode.
Right.
And I strive to do that. It's not, I don't find it easy. Like I have to constantly bring myself back because I'll
practice.
I know I practice because I can be reactive, even though I say I'm not. And but the more we are responsible and actually take the time to say, like, what's mine here? What is mine to do? What is mine to be? Then we're gonna move through something with more grace and ease.
Right.
Yeah.
And not add to the problem.
Right. And the other part of that, the other thing that comes up for me is grace also is allowing the space. It's allowing space for someone to go through and grow through whatever they need to grow through. And this is, we can turn it around on ourselves and look in the mirror and say, I'm allowing myself grace to grow through whatever I need to grow through, free of judgment. And I think that that is another thing, like letting judgment dissipate from the equation.
Yeah.
And that can be hard, right? Because I can tell you, I have opinions that sometimes lean into judgment, and I have to be on heightened awareness.
I find that shocking.
But I like that idea. I like that idea of taking time to yourself, that like time to spend in self-love, and if you do like end up like in judgment or whatever, so you're not like blaming yourself and beating yourself up even more. You're just taking that time to know, you know what? I'm still growing. I'm still expanding. I'm still becoming all that I want, that I know I am already, but I'm still, drawn to the 3D world and reactive sometimes. But
Here, Sherry's saying accountability feels individualization, where grace feels more divine. And that's, I was thinking, my thoughts are that grace is, a principle. It's that level of interchangeable with God or spirit, to be one with grace. And so accountability, like usually there's something we come up against that we have to be accountable for, right? And so when it's in that energy of we're coming up against something, and now we have to be accountable for our actions, the moment we choose to be accountable and maybe even make amends, grace just washes the situation, because grace is that feeling of divinity. It's a divine principle that I can use and call upon within me to help me through the situation. And accountability, like I'm responsible for something. I'm responsible as a caregiver, I'm responsible. And accountability for me seems more like for the actions I've already taken, where responsibility is for the actions I need to take or in the motion of. And so all of these things are can be, like that dance. They're interconnected, they're interwoven, and it's how we digest those triggers and those feelings that come up against us that we are being accountable for. So that's my understanding of accountability, because in my past experience, it wasn't me, someone else's fault, justifying, defending everything I say, everything I do. And then, I wake up a little bit, and now I turn into someone who's willing and open to be accountable for the actions that I take. And that, for me, can't be done without grace.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought up Sherry brought up the idea of the divine in grace. And I was thinking when you were speaking, that whole idea that grace is, for me, is that support I get when I'm courageous enough, spiritually mature enough to move forward, even though I may be shaking in my boots. I may going, oh, confrontation. But the reward is that grace that says, I'll support you. I got you through this. I'm not going to do it for you because that's not what you're here for on this schoolhouse earth, but I will support your decisions both ways is the law. The law will support us in whatever we do.
Yes.
But I love that idea that it is the divine. And one more rant on the divine and the grace thing is that I've learned lately the huge difference between following my gut instinct and intuition. And that's where grace dances in with that too, because my instinct has been set in this temple body to protect me from out there. Don't walk across the street. And I think for me, it's probably judgmental or generalizing, but it's okay. I was told I could do this. But I love that thing, that instinct is to protect us, but that can turn into armor and can turn into masks and say, oh, my instinct's telling me not to do this. No, but when I check in with intuition is quiet. It is certain. What is the question again? I need to know. I'm very afraid right now, but I got to move forward with this. I got to face this. I got to confront this. Intuition will guide me so openly and never say, don't do that, don't do that. It just says, follow it moment to moment. Instinct, I think, has been confused with intuition, and therefore, and grace gets that same thing. But the grace of God, I will, and it's like, yeah, but grace is supporting your growth and your movement.
Yeah. Audrey here is saying, accountability in my reality means the ability to forgive myself the thoughts in which I judged by. It's inner work. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And Mitch. Hey, Mitch.
Hi, Mitch.
How you doing, beloved? Call for love when defending. Yes.
Yeah.
Love.
So I have to address something though, and I'm totally changing the subject now because I see that Mitch is on. Mitch, I did see your comment on my TikTok post a couple days ago. Since you're here, although I do have an intention of actually addressing it and putting up a TikTok post. You asked me about spiritualizing my politics as opposed to politicizing my spirituality, which is kind of what the tone of that TikTok was. Because, and this was all in relationship to my last Sunday's talk, which I got some feedback from one person who said this felt like a political talk. And I said, well, I went back and watched it. I'm like, I don't think it was. And I'm done. I don't need to go into defense mode. But what I think I mean when I say I intend to spiritualize my politics is that my relationship to any political experience is always going to be perceived from and considered from the point of view of my spiritual practice, my spiritual principles. And for me, what I talked about that Sunday was specifically love, kindness, mercy, and compassion, because I think that's how I am choosing to experience the political atmosphere that we're in right now, which is very fraught, right? It feels very fraught. But the more that I do my own inner work, the less I am reactionary or have my buttons pushed or go into anger. Because I'll tell you, it can get, I'm a passionate person.
What?
And I had to make a decision a week ago to remember, if I watch the news, that it's my choice whether or not I get angry or not. And so I'm choosing to be in grace and compassion. But there it is: grace, compassion, mercy, kindness, and allowing myself to spiritualize my experience of the political. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Well, and if we really truly believe that we affect the magnetic field, we affect the one mind, whatever you want to call it, the quantum field, by how we act and how we think, then that would make a big difference. If you're like focusing your life on compassion and kindness and, you know, diversity and all these things, then yeah, it would have to make a difference. And the more people that are doing that, instead of reacting and, you know, getting more angry and adding more fuel to the fire. But it's hard. It is hard.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is the very conversation around accountability and grace.
Right.
Because what we're talking about is actually stepping into our life experience from the point of view of graceful living. That's what I think we're really talking about. So this actually kind of all melds together perfectly.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up, that last point, because we're in the New Thought world, or the New Thought movement, which it is a movement, by the way. I mean, we need to move with it. It's not to leave it in the past.
Stay current.
Stay current.
In the current.
But it was interesting who Dr. Elijah, do you know? I'm Reverend Elijah.
I do.
Santa Cruz.
Anyway, I watched his talk from last week. And,
yes, I know.
And it was pretty. It was political, of course, but it also answered some questions for myself, because I'll give the experience that happened last week. I was talking. I had my talk, and I don't have a problem of going like silent. You know, like I don't know what to do next type of thing. But there was some of that was coming in. And I noticed, I said, what is going on? I mean, within me. Now, other people did notice, oh my God, that really moved me, that talk, you know, and all that. But forget the praise for a moment. What was going on inside of me? And I had realized, I told Rita, I said, Rita, why I was experiencing this uneasiness, this awkwardness after all these years was because my intuitive self was asking me to speak the truth. But I was guarding and protecting and not wanting to be considered political.
That was your instinct.
And that was my instinct going, hey, dude, get out fast. You don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Intuitive said, talk from your heart right now. And I had so much passion that wanted to come out, and it didn't. So some of it trickled out, and because right now there's a walking on eggshells that I personally have a problem with, because first of all, it's sore on your feet when you walk on eggshells, and we're barefooted half the time here. So the thing of it is that, and Reverend Elijah, he said, I'll give an example. He said, well, a person came to him and said, and it's come to us all too, well, what happens if I'm repulsed or repelled by the transgender, community, and yet you say we're inclusive, which I always call arguing for your limitations, but I'm not judging that person. I do not know them.
Yes, you are.
But I am judging them, just a little bit, just a pinch. But he said, I'm not, see, that's why you have someone like this to remind you that you are angry, not passionate, etc. So the whole idea was, I thought, how's he going to answer this? And he said, I'm not apologizing anymore for standing up for injustice, going against injustice. I don't have to do that. And there is, just what my take on it, there is this thing about spiritual leaders and everything that we must make everything and not say anything to rock the boat. And then I had one at our center, a member say to me, no, but he was fine. He said, why are we beating around the bush? Not about going to the political person, but saying, this is what I believe in. This teaching believes in equality. It believes in justice. It believes I don't have to like what you do necessarily. And I don't like the word tolerate, because please do not tolerate me in any stretch,
Yeah, you do not need to tolerate my presence or my existence.
No, because I don't work for you. So my thing is, it's okay to talk like this. It's okay to go up and say, we're about passion and love and fairness for all. And I'm not going to apologize for it. But right now we're scared, a little bit, just nervous.
I think a lot of ministers tend to allow a little bit of that fear to come through, and we do hold back sometimes. But I want to tell you, I am going to name two ministers who did not ever let fear stop them from speaking the truth. One of them was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the other one that I'm going to reference is Jesus.
Yeah.
Because Jesus, Jesus was political.
Yes.
But he was not partisan.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that. I think that's one person. I mentioned that in my talk on Sunday. Jesus was political. And I talked on Sunday, I said, when Jesus walked into the temple and saw the money changers and the greed and the corruption and everything, and he went in and he upturned the tables and knocked them all over and said, "My house shall be a house of prayer." That was a political act.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And people forget that we can do that. It was a political act from a spiritualized mindset.
Right.
Yeah. Well, my next hoodie is going to say unapologetically prayerful.
And so it is.
I've already designed it. It's coming. When Reverend Patrick was saying, rocking the boat, I laughed in my cheeks because my first thought was, the boat was rocky, so Jesus got out and just stood on the water. Right? There is no boat.
No,
right? There is no boat, and we are not gonna change or shift collective consciousness without carrying a cosmic 2x4 every now and then. Because if people aren't getting it, what then?
Yeah.
How our responsibility is to, or at least mine, as someone who has been called and tapped by something greater than I am, to express that radical self-acceptance and radical love and radical joy is something to be celebrated in our life, no matter what the circumstances looks like. Without a little fire and a little heat, people aren't going to wake up because we're comfortable. Oh, I got a lazy boy and the game is on.
And look at this, our sanctuaries and our temples that I call them sanctuaries, temples, centers. Something just came up, and I'm so glad I downloaded that one, because I thought, at this point, moving forward, cannot be your Sunday snooze alarm. I cannot be your snooze alarm that you get, good, let's go there. Oh, they won't talk politics. They won't talk anything. I can put another 10 minutes on, and it's not talking politics. It's not talking politics. It's talking truth, our truth that we have been saying since the beginning. We're not saying anything about anything except our core is, our basis.
Right.
And the beautiful thing is, we aren't saying anything new.
No,
we're not saying anything new. This conversation has been happening for thousands of years.
Yeah. But that's why, I just want to reiterate, this is why I say that, I'm spiritualizing my politics, because I am allowing myself to take a spiritual approach to the political atmosphere. And I think my personal thing is we need to stop being afraid of talking about it. And I do want to give credit where credit is due, because you just put that up, Steph, but I'm going to put it back up. Reverend Dr. David Alexander, I think it was your voice that I first heard use that phrase about Jesus, that Jesus was political but not partisan, at the Anton conference last fall. And I really have taken that to heart, to remind myself of that in every single moment. So thank you. I will say that was my first awareness of that was from you. So thank you. And I will also say, yes.
Thanks, David.
About it. Freedom from Discord.
Go ahead.
Wrote a whole book about it. Freedom from Discord. Ooh.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do this, if we don't speak out, if we don't spiritually politicalize whatever, what are we doing? We're spiritually bypassing.
We're bypassing.
And you know what? I'm creating in my own life. Sorry, Rita.
Yeah, no, I'm done. Go ahead.
If I don't allow myself to be this passionate, because I have withheld my passion for years. I'm going to make myself cry. For years, I withheld my passion. Normalizing prayer. Like we need this teaching out in the world. So for years, I've just been withholding. And what happens when I withhold this passion is it internalizes as suffering and physical pain.
Yes.
We have to be who we are called to be, or it hurts us.
Right. And the excuse that's given to me sometimes
Wow,
for
you're
it,
bringing
look
tears
at me.
to my eyes.
They said, oh yeah, well, as I brought up Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Jesus. They said if Jesus was the greatest example, he's talking about love. He's talking about the kingdom of heaven within. He's talking about all those wonderful things, and that killing your brothers and sisters and torturing them is not coming from love. And what is that about political? But the other one is, well, look how how it worked out for the two of them. They got killed in the end. I go, oh, no, don't, because I'm going to tell you, I will be glad to transcend, because first of all, we never die, A, but B, that if I would back to you, Steph, I would rather be in the throes of passion, believing for what the cause of a world that works for everyone, someone said, a world that works for everyone. And if that means that's the day that I'm taken out, I don't want to create that or have that in my life, but I will go with passion, because the other is too painful. It is so filled with dis-ease. The more I push it down so that I can please and nobody's rocking the boat, that I get sick, I'm not here, and I can no longer serve with the way I can.
Yes.
I think it's radical. Stop it, YouTube.
No, it's so good.
I'm here to serve love. That divine download in me decades ago was serve love. I serve love. And it's hard for me when people don't receive my love. You know, it's like it feels weird because it's so loving. So I'm just loving and warm. And when people like meet me with hostility and I'm meeting them with love, I don't understand it. I just want to embrace them harder. And then they fight harder. And I'm like, I'm only here to serve love. And there's nothing that can block me, hinder me, or deny that purpose in me outside of my own thinking.
Absolutely.
So once again, wrapping it all around, this is inner work, the divine and Holy Spirit that is in each and every one of us. Yeah. Here, I found a slide I did last night for my in my class. Let's see. Here we go. The book is Discover Your Divinity, and let's make it big. Can I make it big?
I think so.
There we go. Right. Discover Your Divinity. Linda Martello-Whitsett. And Deanne Morrissey. Your being wants to express as more wholeness as you. We are wired to align with our divine nature. There is no argument that can arise within you that cannot be met with truth.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
And you know what? It's not like we're going out and trying to fix other people or no. But when we stand in our truth, people feel it. Yeah, I had that happen last Sunday. This woman, she was her first time at the center, and I was like standing in my truth very passionately. And she came up to me after. She said, "When you did that, I felt it in my being. It gave me permission to do it also." And that's what it's about. It's not like about, we got to fix them because they're prejudiced or they're this or they're that. Right. No. This, what you're just saying.
We don't have to fix
anything. No, we just have
to. There's nothing broken. There's nothing broken.
We call it. Last week, I remember we were talking about snapshots and the whole picture, the big picture, and it got a lot of people riled by saying we have to let go of taking the snapshots of what we think is going on based upon our own wounds or our own. We're taking snapshots. You're not doing this. You did this. You spoke that. Didn't hear anything else in the talk but snap. And this woman came up to me. I can still remember her feeling. She said, "Thank you for that, because I feel," and I even think I get emotional remembering it. She said, "I'm getting tired. She goes, I'm really angry that people are taking snapshots of me and calling it who I am." I said, She said, I said, "Oh, you're talking my language." I said, "Here, this is how it goes. So what you're saying is you're hurt." She said she's angry. She goes, "I'm hurt." I said, "So you're hurt because someone is measuring you by a snapshot and not looking at the wholeness and the completeness of who and what you are. You're a divine being that has always been whole, and it hurts when somebody describes you from a snapshot this big.
So that ties right back into the very first thing we were talking about, because if we are willing to move through life not defining people by snapshots, then we are actively engaging in grace.
Yes.
I can give an example of just this morning. So at Unity of Tucson, once a year, we have a big old yard sale. And we have many rooms we have like our whole social hall, like our various classrooms, our sanctuary is just filled to the brim with stuff for the yard sale. And we do the best we can to manage and, move people through the process of paying for their goods. And we had a little bit of a slowdown at one point, and this woman was standing in line and she started like verbally saying, I can't believe that you don't have this together. And she's just started like really going for it. And I sat there and I thought, what is mine to do in this moment? Am I going to be reactive to this? And how do I respond? And I just, I sort of let it wash over me and just said, it's not even worthy of my time right now. But in retrospect, as I consider this conversation now, I think to myself, what was unfolding for her that had nothing to do with us? Because that may have been at play. So I am allowing myself to move forward with grace and to offer her grace, to have her experience. She was upset in the moment, and she's allowed to be upset in the moment for her experience that she's having.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So a question I have on that one is, because that happens a few times in our life here, more times actually than I would like to admit to, but we have that same thing. And my question is, I guess I'm going to answer myself because you did it with grace, but when you take the snapshot, and the snapshot would be your center, did you go to their yard sale? Oh my God, they were so disorganized. I mean, is anybody leading it over there? Snapshot, because you have that one snapshot. And then that's expressed to you, or we call it little fires going out in our beautiful community. Here, look at my snapshot. Here's my snapshot. Did you see that snapshot? My question is, I know that behind it all, I know it intellectually and even spiritually that it has nothing to do with Patrick. I understand that with everything, but I'm always going, what is mine to do? Because I want to defend it, but I'd rather be a first responder. But there's a part of me that wants to defend it and say, what do you think of? We're doing, I call it the Not Enough Club. We're doing the best that we can do.
Yeah. And everybody is.
And everybody is. And I'm thinking, so I got to find that dance in between. Thank you, Mom. I want to find that dance where
between accountability
and grace. Well, what is mine to do when someone is projecting their stuff upon me in order to feel whatever they're going through at the time?
Yeah.
I think what is yours to do is to not own it.
Yeah, we don't have to develop anyone else's film.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
right. I was thinking about that. Like
that goes with snooze. That goes right with snooze.
Yeah. Like taking the snapshot. Okay, if I'm taking the snapshot, like I can take a snapshot and then just instead of it being instant gratification on my digital phone, it's a Polaroid, and I have to wait to see it before I make any other decisions. Like I don't even need to judge this yet. I can just take a breath. The picture's been snapped, and then I can have a couple minutes to breathe and center and fill myself with grace and look at it. Oh, they got my good side.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
Now it's even easier. You just have to delete it.
You go through life so much more peacefully when you can do that. When you did, Jonathan, instead of like reacting to that person.
Mhm.
And that's what we teach by doing it ourselves.
The examples.
By being the examples.
Yeah.
And you know what I call that?
She's having. What?
You know what I call that? I call that narrowing the gap.
Yes.
A lot of what I have really taken to heart and trying to teach in my ministry is that while I don't differentiate in my own mind anymore from the human experience and the spiritual experience, it's one experience.
Right.
But we are culturalized into this idea of separation. And so we think we can have our human emotions over here and they're somehow separate from the divine. Well, if I narrow the gap, then I actually more rapidly get to the spiritual truth of any given situation, and I don't step into adverse, destructive reaction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The only place that is destructive is within myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We pay a big price for it when we do it from the reactionary.
Indeed, we do.
Yep. Amy Steinberg's in the
Reverend
house.
Amy Steinberg.
Speaking of dancing, Amy's aboard. Yeah.
Amy's here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we do pay, I call it pay the price. When I know I do in my stuff, because now I'm so tuned that my body will go. I always tell that to Rita. I said, I have to stop right now. My heart's at a real. I said, and at this moment, I wouldn't dare take my blood pressure. Because that's
Steph was talking about before.
Exactly.
You take it into your own body.
And that dance that you were talking about earlier, Jonathan, we've all been talking about. I was thinking this odd, random thought came up, being in Catholic school when I was raised, and how we weren't able to, when we danced, we weren't able to dance close. So we had a gap.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Until we got older, then you were allowed to twirl them around, but don't twirl them too close. So I'm thinking of accountability and grace. And then when we got in 7th and 8th grade, you were allowed to do this, but keep it. And then the slow dance came in, the one where you actually, the one that every guy likes because they don't know how to dance, so they don't have to do anything except hug them and go like this.
Yeah.
It's accountability and grace. We are allowed to bring them together now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Hey, Pam, light up and let go. I love that. Light up and let go. I love that. I don't have to develop every else's film.
Writing that one down.
That'll be this Sunday's message.
Yeah, and that grace is just recognizing, I broken record here, the sticky and the sweet. Everything that, everything that we are is divine. We are the divine activity. And so as we participate and engage in our own experience, awareness is the destination, Ernest Holmes. So the consciously aware that we're in the sticky is grace. Consciously aware that we're in the sweet, that's grace. And we get to be in this beautiful experience. All of life is a dance. And no matter, if I always say, I have come through cheesecloth, I have got out of piles of fertilizer. And that all that sticky stuff does, all that stinky stuff does in my life is makes me better.
Yeah.
Right? We always get through. No matter how many times we've fallen down, we've gotten up one more time. That's grace.
Yeah.
That's grace. Yeah, David. Leave room for Jesus. Absolutely.
Yeah, we got that. I heard a great quote, speaking of which, I just hoping I can remember it because, and it's a proverb, but it's really from somebody else. But I heard it from Reverend Elijah, and he was talking about, now he might have been talking politically, but this is universal, and I know it's hitting a lot of people when I say it. They tried to bury me when they didn't know, and they didn't know I was a seed. And it just, when you really breathe it in, it crosses anything political or anything. I've done it to myself. I tried to bury my passion and forgot that I was a seed that was going to ground that is its only purpose is to bloom and grow.
Yeah.
And so burying me, there's no way to bury me because I'm a seed. You forget that I'm a seed that it will grow and we're blooming. Wow.
And a seed needs the darkness.
Yes.
To root.
To root and
to be nourished.
And then go, oh, I've done my job here and now I'm coming through to the It reminded me also that yesterday I said, I've been nurturing a lot of weeds. And I go no further about what that means for me and our ministry and our center.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? That beautiful garden out there, I forgot to nurture the flowers that are blooming and allow them to, because I've been so focused on, trying to please or trying to meet up to the snapshots that are taken. And I said, I'm going to start right now looking at my flowers that are in my garden because there's a lot of them. And I want to nurture them and let them know that you matter. Not saying, forget you, weeds, but pull them out later. But right now, I'm too focused on growing a whole bunch of weeds. And I'm not. And thank you for this because this is like total stimulation to going. Get to the garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know why you call it RANT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we ranted. Oh my goodness. I haven't even been paying attention to the time, but
It's been almost an hour.
We do it every time.
I'm like all like fired up now in a good way. In a good way. This is what I mean. You can get spiritually radical when people say, oh, that's a little harsh, isn't it, for spirituality? No, I'm spiritually radical. I'm an activist. I'm a quantum activist.
I'm a quantum activist. Yeah.
One of the 12 powers, according to Charles Fillmore, was the power of zeal, enthusiasm. And, near the end of his life, and I don't have it committed to memory, but he said, I fairly sizzle with zeal.
Right.
That's the way we should be living our life. Living with absolute zeal at our core.
Absolutely.
I think that's what I think. You get to live your life the way you want.
I think there's room for a lot of more sizzle.
I'm a Leo, so enthusiasm comes naturally to me.
Yeah, we're all a little bit. Yeah. I think
I've had some experience. I mean, we all have these like experiences that like for me that were so dark, that were so, I lived in a cave and self-loathed and just, I could just see myself becoming a troll with my thoughts and just, no, I'm never going to see the light again. And then what happens is you're a seed for sure. But there's something that just pushes you forward. There's something that pulls you and pushes you until you find that space within yourself. That wasn't really the place where I was going. Zeal. But that's what happened. Okay.
Grace, though.
Yeah, it's grace.
And while you go through it.
And without that, oh, now I know the dark spaces. Like every day I'm alive on this side of 30 is a miracle. And so as much as possible, that's like every day is precious. Every day is a gift. I do not have time for hostility or anger. I do not have time for smallness and othering. I don't have time. Time is precious and sacred and good. It's a gift that we woke up today and take a breath. My dad, he was a grumpy dude way back when I was a young person, but he's had this beautiful life too, where something shifted in him. And so now, like I say, hey Dad, how are you doing? He's like, I woke up on the right side of the dirt. It's a good day.
Yeah.
It's a good day. To every day is this precious and sacred gift that we get to unwrap.
And we get to live from a place of gratitude. I was thinking about the others and the stuff that's been triggering me as of late. And I don't have any solution for it, but I'm realizing, I was telling Rita, I'm realizing that what we're going through, it looks on the outside, the snapshot looks like suffering and people not enough, and people, coming out. But in reality, the word I probably will end up using and starting to now is thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because your behavior and what I'm going through, that I'm spending all my time on, and all of my precious time, I don't get that back in this particular form in life. So if everything is working for us,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, until I don't, that's where I'm at now, where I'm just going, what if, oh my God, what if this BS, or as we all call it, belief systems,
Mm-hmm.
what would happen if this was what you were talking about, Steph? The thing that was pushing Patrick and Rita to the next level, because we were snoozing a little bit, not moving. They said, oh, I'm not going to be too comfortable because I got something to say. You got some snapshots on the way to you. And then you look at it and you say, oh, what do we really want? Where's our net? And we move away and up and out. And so they were really our blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
our blessings right here, Sherry. And I always ask, and what is a weed? What some consider a weed, others consider nourishment. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? The only reason I say
also
weed,
they say that sometimes our arborist said that a weed is just a misplaced plant.
Yes.
Right. But the only reason I think we use it as a metaphor is because the weeds can sometimes, we have trees here that do that. They come in and they strangle the other because they're not in their place that they need to be to grow their plant.
Yeah.
So what happens is they're in the garden, and that's why people want to get rid of them, because they're strangling the growth of the other.
Yeah.
The garden.
So everything has a place, and everything in its place. Weeds included.
If you were at Dr. James's church right now, we would have said, everything has a season, everything has
its time. You know what? It needed to happen because I almost always sing during the rant at one point or another. So thank you.
So I'm here to remind you.
Yes. Yeah. So, and speaking of time, Rita and Patrick, where can everybody find you?
You can find us on the island of Kauai. You can find us at cslkauai.org.
Right.
Everything's there, phone numbers, anything you want.
And if you're on island, please visit us. We really love that. And we're a global community, and with its 12 years, and we have people internationally, and it's just so beautiful to have people that we don't even know come up and say, yes, I remember you 4 years ago when I'm thinking, I don't know who you are. Oh, we've never met or talked, and then I went, oh, so the global, we're doing, sometimes I think we're doing, all of us we never know who we are affecting.
Absolutely.
And so when I have a few low moments in life, I just go, all right. Yeah, this has been, I'm going to tell you.
Thank you for having
us. This
us.
has been, it feels like 5 minutes. I love time. We're all so present in the moment. Wow.
Yeah.
And we live stream every Sunday. Just like
we live stream every Sunday as well.
Oh, yeah. Pam, thank you for recognizing the grace in the weeds and the flowers. Aloha and thank you. Thanks, Pam. Thank you to everyone who's watching. We so appreciate having these radically affirmative new thoughts with each and every one of you. Drop a comment in the comments. If you are watching on the replay, #replay for us. We love to know you've come back to this conversation. And let us know in the comments what you would like us to rant about next.
You can also email us what you want us to talk about. There are, Steph's email, my email are up there, and we'll see. We see you every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific.
OneLoveAwakening.com.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
What a gift you have given us today. We just love it.
You are a gift to us. And thank you for getting up early, because, people forget that when you started, it was 7:30 a.m. in Hawaii.
Oh, my goodness. Bless you. Bless you.
We left at 6:30. Wow. One other thing. Rita does a beautiful little meditation in the mornings, 15 minutes. It's on YouTube.
Nice.
And it's like, I call it the 555.
No, it's not on YouTube. It's on Facebook Live.
Facebook Live.
Wonderful.
On the CSL site. Okay.
And thank you for letting me dance with you today.
Thank you.
We're going to dance again right now. Peace and blessings, everybody. Have an awesome week.
Bye.